Let's take a look at shares of Tesla rebounding pre-market after shedding over $150 billion from its market cap in the biggest one-day drop ever for the company. Shares began sliding as President Trump and Tesla CEO Elon Musk traded barbs on social media as their disagreement over the Republican tax bill turned personal. Musk claiming that without him, Trump would have lost the presidential election. President Trump responding by threatening to cancel billions and billions of government contracts for Musk's SpaceX, and Musk even saying the Trump tariffs could cause a recession. Initial reports last night suggesting the two leaders could have a call today, but Reuters reporting this morning there are no plans for Trump and Musk to speak. Joining us now, we've got Craig Irwin, ROTH MKM Senior Research Analyst. We also have Steve Clemons, the Washington Notes founding editor at large. Craig, I want to begin with you. I know that you have been bullish on Tesla regardless of the slew of headwinds we've seen for the stock over the last year. Are you still bullish today?
Absolutely. I think, the cybercab robotaxi is going to get, the spotlight next Thursday. I think people are going to be impressed. I'm hearing supply chain for Optimus. They're talking about parts for 30 million robots, right? So, these two businesses, they basically create their own milestones for the next couple of years, and investor enthusiasm for that and the future of AI, where Tesla's a clear leader. These guys are set up for an interesting run. The political noise and the other volatility is more short-term in nature, at least as far as I see it.
Okay, so Craig, it sounds like you believe this is just one part of, or one latest episode in the broader season of Trump 2.0. Steve, your reaction to all that played out yesterday and the overhang that it creates for Tesla?
Well, look, I think that Craig is right, that the fundamental underlying dimensions of Tesla are so strong for the future. But you've got a major spat going on, and the spat's going to have consequences, and there'll be recovery after that spat. But this is a serious political challenge, I think, both for Tesla, and I think it's also, for Donald Trump. Trump and Musk will both survive this, but we've never seen a kind of bromance, between two people blow up this spectacularly, and it will have political consequence unless they're able to kind of patch it up. Musk is threatening to create a third party. He's threatening to create penalties for anybody who supports the big, beautiful bill. And he's really going after Donald Trump in a way we've never seen anybody go after Trump. Trump's threatening to undermine many of the grants and subsidies for SpaceX and Tesla. And so it's a nasty thing that we're just going to have to see play out. But Tesla will survive just fine.
Craig, bringing you back into the conversation, I'm just curious as an investor how you deal with this kind of catalyst for a stock that you hold, given the fact that the relationship between Trump and Musk is part of what drove it up over 40% off of the election results. And then it's also obviously part of what drove it down 40%. We're at around where we were before the president won the election. How do you think about the risk of that?
So the closeness between these two men, I think is something that needed to change a little bit, right? These guys have so much in common, right? Tremendous egos, tremendous power, and very strong opinions, both of them. And they're not always going to share the same opinions, but they have an incredible amount in common, right? I look at them and I laugh, and I think both of them stole their dance moves off Steve Martin on Saturday Night Live, right? I mean, they are so similar in so many different ways that it's natural that they would get along really well. Their interests are still incredibly well aligned. When Musk was saying impeach Trump, he's saying, elevate Vance yesterday. So he's not, separating or putting a lot of daylight between his commitments to conservative causes right here. He's saying that I'm pissed off with Trump. I'm very angry. I differ on some of these things, but he's a man with a lot of passion, a lot of emotion, as is our president. And we have to respect that. And the reality is, I think cooler heads prevail. I think at the end of the day, both of them will see that they're actually really well aligned, and that they do have differences of opinion. Trump's saying, hey, I got to govern 1.6 trillion. Not so bad. Musk is saying we should have done 2.5. Come on. I mean, I think at the end of the day, the both of them can get together and do a high five and say, you know what, we're winning. Let's make America great again, right? Which is really what they've both been saying. And that's just something that's going to be good for Tesla and good for the country.
That kind of turns an eye to the vindictive activity that President Trump has been known to have in the past, expecting that they would just come together and high five at the end of this. So as you're kind of looking through the other broader risks here, not just the Tesla, but of course, and not within a coverage universe right now, SpaceX and the other businesses, it seems like there are different areas where Trump could go after Musk. And Tesla might not be the core focus of that, but it still is the one that investors have to grapple with, at least in the near term, whether they want to hold Tesla voluntarily or do as a result of it being in one of the indexes.
So both of them have a record of being highly vindictive, right? There's some stories that haven't really found their way into these books that have been written about Elon Musk, but he has really humiliated some of the executives that he's fired over the last many years. President Trump, I guess most of the public first knows him from his time on The Apprentice, right? Where he was humiliating people by the way he was firing them, but then it was turned more or less into a comedy, right? And I think that Trump has shown the ability to rechannel that vindictiveness, maybe a little bit more effectively than Musk in the last couple of years. And they do both tend to step back from, mistakes or heated situations and reevaluate. So I'm not overly concerned about the short term. I mean, the tremendous downdraft in Tesla yesterday did not give me a good feeling. But I think at the end of the day, we have two men that have the shared interest and shared vision of the future that differ slightly. And they'll both understand that. And I think there will be a coming together. And I do see a high five. Probably not today, but in the not too distant future.
Steve, we got to go. 15 seconds. Are you expecting a high five? We still talking about this story next week, or is the popcorn
I think it's really. I don't think this is a kumbaya situation between these two men. I think this is going to be a permanent rift. I think they've gone nuclear with each other and gone after each other in such a way and so publicly. I don't see that as a realistic option. I do see both sides surviving well, but when you accuse somebody and saying, hey, they're in the Epstein files, which is really a lot about sexual innuendo, and you're talking about removing all grants and trying to sort of destroy the other person. Musk is sort of the Da Vinci of our times, and he's complicated. But when you have that, this is not going to end in a way that's nice for either one of them. Both equities of the U.S. government and Donald Trump will be fine, and Tesla will be fine. I agree with Craig in that, but they're not going to high five.